Welcome back to GB9 Garage. So last week I got the subframe all bolted up to the car, short one bolt in the far right rear that the nut in the trunk is come loose. So once I get the battery hooked up, I can open the trunk, then I can get that reseated and then get that last bolt put in. But I don't see any reason why that needs to hold us up right now. I got the steps to basically reassemble this whole thing. We went through step 1 through 50 to get them to get it disassembled, and now we're going to go through steps 1 through whatever it takes to get it put back together. The only trick about any of this is that step 14 here is not going to correspond to step 14 where I took it apart, and then of course all my bins are labeled based on the step of taking them apart. So no big deal. I'll just have to see what step I'm at here, go compare it to what step it was when I took it apart, find the bin. We should have all the parts. So we already went through steps 1 through 9 when we bolted it all together, got all those things torqued. Step 11 was to hook up the manual or the manual override cable on the transmission, which I did before I put it back together. I also hooked up the emergency brake line back to where it goes, because that's not going to be accessible anymore now it's put together. So we're on to step 14, which is install the brake pipes. So let's get going. I'm looking forward to getting this thing started, and we got to get through these steps to do that. The first thing we can do is get rid of this rack from underneath my car. All right, stupid move number 1. I didn't hook these transmission lines back up to the torque tube before I put the whole thing back together. I just figured I'd do it afterwards when it was out from underneath the car and a little easier to deal with, or I mean, the rack being gone and all that. But let me show you why that's gonna be a problem. All right, so you can see right there, and then another one right up in there is where these bolts go in to the torque tube to hold this up in there. Well, without this in there, it was difficult for me to get these bolts out. So I'm imagining trying to get these bolts back in with this up in the way is gonna be a challenge. So here we go. Challenge number 1. I gotta follow these directions. I gotta do things in the same exact order. Otherwise I'm gonna be doing this the whole time. So I gotta get super, disciplined on doing these things step by step. Okay, I'm gonna have to get past the disappointment in myself for doing this, but here we are. I think I can get to 2 out of the 3 mounting points up in here. The middle one's gonna be pretty tough. But this last one, it's not gonna happen. There's no way I can get this bracket up in there and then take the bolt up in there, find the hole, put it in, and then tighten that down. So my solution is gonna be to cut a slot in the top of this bracket so that I can put the bolt in the hole first, and then slide this up in there and tighten it up. And I think effectively this is gonna work out the same, but again, I'm a little disappointed in myself for not connecting this up. So just got to be a little more disciplined, do things the right way, in the right order, otherwise we're gonna run into more problems. And so hopefully this is the last time, fingers crossed, that happens, okay? I'll have to get this done. Okay, so I just got a little slot cut in the top of that bracket. Now I just gotta squeeze my fingers in there and get that bolt put in that hole right there. Well, okay. It took me a minute. I had to get a little creative, create my own little offset wrench there to get up in behind around because of course the mounting bolts are above the transmission line. So you have to get around the transmission lines, and there's not a lot of room in here. I had to use a little strap here to help pull the thing back a little bit to get it lined up. But with the homemade tools and a little ingenuity, we got it done. So let's not do this again. Let's follow the steps one at a time and get this thing done right. All right, on to the next. Brake lines, all hooked up now. All right, just to go through it, brake lines, brake pipes installed. So we're on to step 15, which is install the handbrake cable to the handbrake lever. And that was step 37 on a disassembly. And so we need bin 37 for the 2 bolts to hold those in. Boom. All right, emergency brakes installed. There we go. Step 15, done. Torque tube ground, connected. Starter cable, connected. So oddly enough, the next step is to put the headlights back in. And as opposed to the way I took them out, which was not good, go back and watch that video, I'm gonna try to put them back in the right order. When they got taken out last time, this whole top section, which snaps on, had gotten pretty much pulled off. It didn't break anything, to be honest, here, so we're good there, but the rubber gasket, the rubber seal that goes in there was just disintegrated. It's all in pieces. You can't buy just that seal, of course. You gotta buy the whole headlight, $2,500, not gonna happen. So I used a little bit of electrical tape. That's like next best thing to duct tape, I suppose. And I put a bead of electrical tape around that that knife edge, and then I put it back on. So I got a little bit of a rubber seal there. And then I'm just gonna take some silicone, some basic silicone, and put a bead around the outside to create that watertight seal. That should do it. So we're gonna go with that instead of getting a whole new set of headlights. Otherwise, I think they should be good. I already fixed the parts I broke when I pulled them out last time. So let's just get this sealed up and put them back in. It might not be the easiest thing to see, but you can see a little silicone underneath that latch right there. I had to go a little heavy just to get into this crack. But otherwise, I got a silicone bead all the way around. I think that's going to do just as good, if not better, than that rubber gasket thing was doing before anyway. So, and it's pliable, so if I need to ever open this up again, there should be no problem. Get these installed. All right, so the next step is to install the air boxes. I cleaned these things up. I don't know if you remember back in the video when I took them off, these things were both completely filled with oil and junk and dirt and big bugs. It was really bad. So anyway, got them cleaned up. While I was cleaning them up, I noticed though that this box here, the right-hand side, this it's supposed to have a little lip in there, so it goes in that little lip, and it's broken off. And I didn't do this, and I could tell I didn't do it because someone has tried to RTV the seal back on when they put the airbox back on. So I'm guessing somewhere along the way, someone got the air filters replaced, which clearly was a long time ago. But anyway, they tried to do that with some silicone of some sort. I've sent an inquiry into Scuderia. The part doesn't show available, or it doesn't show that it has a price, so I don't know. We'll see. See if we can get this thing. If not, I guess I'll be RTVing it as well. Okay, gang. So I got through step 22, which was to install the air boxes, both sides. So I got one on each side. The air filters were a little tight to get on there, but little WD-40, I got them on snapped on there. Otherwise, these are all installed. That's step 22 out of 42 to get this whole thing put back together, and that's including the alignment and everything. So none of that needs to happen before I get this thing started. So I think I'm gonna call it quits there for today and try to get this video out, and I think I'm gonna get back at it tomorrow. So hopefully tomorrow we might get close to being able to start this thing. So let's see how it goes. Thanks for watching. If you are liking this video series, please subscribe and hit the little bell button for the notifications when the new videos come out. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. And like I said, thanks for tuning in to GB9 Garage.